Welcome once more to another video again in our YouTube channel. So in today's video, we are going to look at ordinary level mathematics, specifically a topic called subject of formula. Okay, so please, I recommend that you should like the video, subscribe, and share it to your friends. Okay, as displayed to you on your screen, you can follow us via Mathematics Dreamland for Africa on YouTube, or you can reach me on WhatsApp via the telephone number displayed to you on your screen. So guys, without wasting much of your time, let's get started. Okay, so what is subject of formula? The subject of the formula is simply the quantity you are looking for or what you are finding. Say among many things, you can be looking for specific one among all of them. Okay, so in treating this topic, we shall consider three cases. So case one, when the subject of the formula has a power of 1. Okay, like saying 2x plus 1 equal to 2. Yes, the power of x there will just be 1 since it's just x. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to say. So if you have x power 1 plus, like saying when the subject of the formula has a power of 1, right? So that is x. When the power of x there is 1, so it's actually this is what this first case is talking about. But when you have a power of 2 here, that is different from when the power of 1 is when the power of the subject formula has a power of 1. If there is a 2 here or 3 or 4 or 5, that is different from this case. So this is applied only to cases where the subject, what you are making a subject of the formula, has a power of 1. Okay, but in writing x to the power 1, in writing x to the power 1 like this, it's actually correct. Okay, it's correct, but there's no need of including this one since writing just x simply means the x is already raised to a power 1. Okay, yeah, so that is it. So in our first case, we look at it when the subject of the formula has a power of 1, and in our second case, we are going to look at when the subject of the formula has an odd power. We know odd numbers, right? Yeah, like 3. If the subject, what you are making the subject, has an odd power, that is another case of it. Okay, and when the subject of the formula has an even power, even numbers like saying 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right up to n, provided n is even. Okay, so let's look at case 1. So case 1, the subject of power 1. So this will be applied to cases where the subject of the formula is linear. Like look at this equation. This equation is actually a linear equation. This is a linear equation actually. Okay, where x or y can be the subject. So it means here you can either make x the subject or you make y the subject, since they have a power of 1 actually. X, writing just x without any square simply means it's raised to a power of 1, and the same goes to y. Okay, so that is it. So we are actually going to take some examples in order for us to actually master the topic. So we are going to look at example 1. Example 1 says make y the subject given the equation 4x minus 5y equal to 6. Okay, so we're actually making y the subject. So it means we are interested in the term having y. Okay, so that is it. So we are going to look at the solution, and we have 4x minus 5y equals to 6. It implies that negative 5y equal to 6 minus negative 4. Why is it like that? Let me explain. Okay, here this 4x is actually positive. Okay, yeah, it's actually positive, and when it crosses this equality sign here, it becomes negative. That is why there's a negative sign here. Okay, so in mathematics, when a term crosses this equality sign, the sign reverses, or it changes. Okay, because here it was actually positive, but now that it has crossed this equality sign, it becomes negative. Okay, yeah, so that is it. So here now we notice that negative 5y is actually this negative 5 is actually disturbing this y. Okay, so we have to make the y alone. That is what we mean by making something the subject of the formula. Okay, now, so what are we going to do? We are simply going to divide all through by -5. If you divide all through by -5, you notice that the -5 here will cancel with this other -5 in the denominator, and that will actually leave y alone. Okay, so if that happens, what are we going to have? We are going to have that y equal to 6 minus 4x divided by -5. Okay, yeah, so that is it. So we have finally made y the subject of the formula. So that is it. Okay, now let's move to example 2. Example 2, we have make x the subject of the formula from the equation ax plus by equals to c. Okay, here we're actually interested in the term having y, but here we are interested in the term having x. Okay, so let's look at the solution. We have ax plus by equal to c. It implies that ax equals to c minus by. This is a similar case we did earlier. Okay, this is also a linear equation. You notice that it's a linear equation because we are still under case 1 when the subject of power case 1 the subject of power 1. Okay, so that is it. Now, since we are interested in the x term, means we are going to send a y term in the other side of the equation. That is why we have ax equals to c minus by. And you notice that the minus here means that the by term has crossed, the y term has crossed the equality sign, and the sign reverses because yes, it was actually positive. Okay, but now it is negative because it has crossed this equality sign. Yeah, so that is it. And then now what are we in the previous example we saw, we noticed that whenever a term is disturbing the subject of the formula, we actually divide all through by that term. Okay, so that is it. That is the reason why here we divide all through by a, and if that happens, a will cancel with a and x will be left alone, and therefore x will be equal to c minus by divided by a. So that is x. We have make x the subject of the formula. Okay, let's move to example 3. So example 3, the velocity v in a string of length L, mass m kilogram, and tension F is given by the formula v equal to k square root of fl divided by m, where k is a constant. Make n the subject of the formula. Okay, this example 3 is somehow tricky, so we have to pay attention. Okay, so let's look at the solution. We have v equal to k square root of fl divided by m. It implies that v squared equal to k squared fl divided by m. Now, where is the square coming from? Okay, so in mathematics, in mathematics, if we have, let me say, x squared equal to 2, then we are asked to make x the subject, right? We are not asked to make x squared the subject, but x the subject. Okay, so in this case, we actually look for the square root on both sides, like taking the square root of 2. I mean, it's not easier to write with the mouse. Okay, like taking the square root of 2. Let me write the 2 back. So that is the 2. So in order for us to make x a subject, we actually take the square root of 2 here, and we also take the square root of x. Yeah, that is it. And then what do you notice? You notice that when you take the square root of a squared number or a squared term or anything, okay, so you notice that the square root sign will cancel with the square sign, and that thing will be left alone. Okay, so here it implies that x will be equal to plus or minus 2, but we are not actually interested in the plus or minus. We are interested in making x a subject. So that is it. That is why here also the v and k are squared, because we have to square everything here. We have to square everything here like this. We'll square it. Square. Yeah, we'll square it. Then we'll also square our k. Okay. We'll square this k too. And then we'll also square the v. That is why here this square will cancel with this root sign. And all this term here, this fl divided by m will be left alone. And since k is not under a square root sign, not under the square root sign, and v is not under the square root sign, it therefore means that their squares will not actually cancel out, okay, because they were just actually term on their own without being under the square root sign. Okay, so that is it. So let's proceed. Okay, so that is it. So we have v squared equals to k squared fl divided by m. Now what do you notice? We notice that for us to make n the subject, we will just cross multiply. This m will multiply with v squared, and k will be multiplied by 1. That is, this v squared is like saying v squared divided by 1 equal to k squared fl divided by m. So that if we cross multiply, this m will meet v squared this way. And if that happens, let's see what we are going to have. We are going to have that mv squared equals to k squared fl. Okay, but now in the previous examples, we notice that whenever something is disturbing what we are to make the subject of the formula, we divide it by that thing that is disturbing. Okay, so if that happens, we are going to have that mv squared divided by v squared equals to k squared fl divided by v squared. And we notice that this v squared here will cancel with this other v squared up here, and m will be left alone. Okay, and if that happens, we are going to have that m equal to k squared fl divided by v squared. So that is it. Okay, let's look at our example 4. Okay, example 4. We have make it a subject given that s equal to ut plus half at squared. So those of you doing physics, this formula is coming from motions equations, under motions equation. These are one of the formulas. Okay, so let's make it a subject of the formula given that equation. Okay, so solution, we have s equal to ut plus half at squared. It implies that half at squared equal to s minus ut. So what have I done there? Since we are looking for a, it means the whole of this term will actually move in the other side of the equation. But what I've done is I've just allowed this one here, this a half at squared, and then I've taken ut and then I cross it in the other side of the equation. I noticed that ut was positive, but now that it has crossed the equality sign, it has become negative. Okay, so it implies that half at squared will be equal to s minus ut. Okay, so that is it. Now we are going to multiply everything by 2. Yeah, we're going to multiply everything by 2. So if we multiply here by 2 and we multiply this other side by 2, we notice that this 2 will cancel with the other 2 that will be multiplied here, and this other 2 will stay in the right hand of the equation. Okay, so that is it. So if that happens, we are going to have that at squared equal to 2 times s minus ut. Okay, so that is it. So okay, so that is it. Now we have at squared equals to 2 times s minus ut. So now we notice again that what you are making a subject is a, and t squared is disturbing a. So it means we are going to divide all through by t squared. And if that happens, we are going to have that a equals to 2 times s minus ut divided by t squared. So we have finally made a the subject of the formula. So that is it. So guys, I think the case 2 and the case 3 we are going to look at it in another video. So this is the end of this video. Please share, again, like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.